Thanks for watching our podcast. Here at Spear Consulting, our services include business strategy and human resources consulting. In HR, we offer executive search, executive coaching, and work psychology consulting. Please visit us at spiritmco.com, where we fulfill our clients' dreams virtuously. Enjoy your show.
Welcome back to the Leading Virtuously podcast. So excited to be able to have Michelle on the podcast today. Michelle, who are you?
I am Michelle Damico, and I'm the CEO of Michelle Damico Communications. I am a news junkie, a former news reporter. I love journalism, and I love helping my clients grow their businesses through communications. I'm also the mother of two daughters. One of whom is an aspiring journalist at the University of Minnesota. I'm an accomplished cook whose recipes have appeared in the Tribune, in the Sun-Times.
Oh, wow.
I've taught cooking classes at Francis Parker School and the Latin School to adults. And I love my business and I love helping people.
Great. Well, that's excellent. And I'm excited for you to come over and cook for me, my wife, and my two boys sometime too, Michelle.
when we no longer have to distance socially.
Most definitely. So how did you get to the leadership position that you're in today, Michelle?
As I said, I was a former news reporter. I was a news reporter for 15 years. And my last position in radio, I was at WXRT Radio in Chicago and WBEZ in Chicago. And my last position was as a morning drive newscaster. And I wanted something new after 15 years as a reporter and a newscaster. And many of my friends were going into politics. They were leaving journalism and serving as spokespeople or as public relations people for government officials. And it just so happened that Mayor Daley asked me to run his 1995 communications effort for Daley 95, the re-election effort of Mayor Daley. I left radio, joined politics under Mayor Daley, and after he won in 1995, I became the first director of the city's website. The first person in 1995 to introduce the city's website to Chicagoans and also to teach employees how to use the web for city services. And I've been in public relations and marketing ever since then.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing. That's a wild ride. So, I guess, being in the successful career that you've had in public relations, what are some things that you now know as an insider to the function that a lot of people wouldn't know about your profession as just an outsider?
Well, that's a really good question, Chris, because a lot of reporters and journalists think it's easy to switch from journalism to PR. Oh, I can do that. I can write a press release. There is so much strategy that goes into a communications initiative, a public relations initiative. And if you aren't adept at developing strategy, at identifying how your news will be received by your audiences, that is the biggest battle of all in doing effective communications, is to have a strategy and to anticipate the problems as well as the positives that will come out of your PR effort. And that is one big thing I've learned, that you can't go into any communications initiative unless you have a strategy. Very often, clients or prospects will come to me and say, I want to do a press release, or I need media training. And the first thing I'll say to them is, well, what is your goal in doing this press release? What do you hope to achieve? Who are your audiences? And if you want to be media trained, what are your messages? What's your value proposition? What are the audiences that will hear your message and it will resonate with them? People don't think about that. They think about the tactic. They don't think about the strategy and the impact. So that is something that I try to instill, especially in so many of my journalism friends who are thinking of switching to PR. And also to prospects or clients who come to me and say, I'm interested in PR, but I really don't know where to start. I know we have news, or I know we have something worthwhile to say in the media, but I don't know where to start. And the first place you start is on a strategy.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I can admit, even in my own career, both working as leading operations for an agency, and now I guess the multiple hats of running your own consultancy, also in the running nonprofits and the work that I do with different boards. It's like, yeah, I think that you're dead on that do we actually spend the amount of time thinking through how the message is going to be received versus just what is the message itself, and thinking through the strategic piece of communication. So thank you. That's a great tip for outsiders to hear that and to understand how that works in your own career too. So thank you.
Sure.
This podcast is all about where business and virtue intersect. So where have you seen kind of like the way that virtue allows you to be a more impactful leader, Michelle?
Well, I definitely believe in karma. I believe that when you give, it will be returned to you somehow. It might not be immediate. It might not ever happen. That fulfillment comes from within. But I do believe if you are a kind and generous person and take the time to help others, the universe will respond and help you back. That universe might be my friends who I've helped, or other people who've heard about the way I help people and they've come to me as a result, or they've picked up my vibe through interviews like this and they want to reach out to me. But I have been taught by some very impactful mentors, and I have benefited from their generosity, and I've seen how a good person runs a business versus how some pretty nasty people have run their businesses, and it's taught me to be a better person overall. So I would say that's how business and virtue have intersected for me.
So you mentioned that, I've read the book, the Go-Giver, which is kind of like touching upon exactly that, the philosophy that if you just give to other people, that it comes back. But that's in theory. Can you think of a specific example where that was something that you felt like you were diving into something to go that extra mile for someone, and it ended up being a positive gain for you from a business perspective, or any area of life where it was a benefit to you?
Yeah, let me give you an example. I very often get contacted by editors, and they'll say, I'm looking for, I'd like to speak, I'd like to know if you have a client who is an expert in logistics and can talk to me about the challenges that Walmart is facing right now in delivering products to people's homes. Mm-hmm. And I might have a client that can talk about that, but often I don't have a client that can talk about that. Mm-hmm. Because a reporter comes to me, I want that reporter to keep coming back to me. So I will find them an expert, even if it's not a client. Mm-hmm. So I will help that reporter, and I will find them an expert by contacting my group of friends and saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's an expert in logistics. Do you know of anybody? And I'll call that individual up and say, I am not charging you. I am not asking for money, but this editor wants to talk to a logistics expert, and Chris told me that you're an expert. Would you like to talk to that editor? There is no fee involved here. And I've just made a connection, and that person may or may not want to do business with me. It really doesn't matter. The goal is to serve editors and reporters. And the goal is to just expand my network. And that often does, in turn, expand my network. So the karma happens, the good experience happens, and as a result, everybody benefits.
Excellent. No, I think that's yeah. Thank you for communicating that. I can definitely see how as you start to fulfill that person's needs, that they just increase you as an asset to their own network. And so that only continues, you're bridging the gap between two people. You're serving as a benefit not only to the editor but also to that individual too, that increases your desire into the network too, so that you're not just coming to them saying, hey, I'm Michelle and I want to be able to do your PR, but it's more so like, hey, here's an opportunity for you too. And if it's not for you, I'm sure there's someone in your own network that might come to mind as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
And it's a more natural way to network rather than just a cold call saying, hi, I'd like to grow my network. Will you be part of my network? It's just a more authentic way to do it.
Yeah. And I think, Michelle, as kind of transitioning, thankfully, out of the young professional into the middle of my own career. I think that oftentimes younger professionals may not necessarily feel like they always have those opportunities that you're talking about to be able to lead with. Is there any coaching that you might have for younger professionals to be able to kind of uncover that and lead with that versus leading with your traditional ask?
Oh boy. I run across a lot of young professionals because I'm a member of a few associations. One of them is the Turnaround Management Association, which is the organization of professionals that help distressed businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I will often advise them is to talk about what they love and talk about what they're best at, and and find a way to segue from what they do to what they love, because you'll always be more attractive to a prospect if you can convey passion as well as smarts and skill. So I do try to mentor them by stressing how passion shines through as loud as smarts and skill shines through.
Excellent. And that is also beautiful because we all can get passionate about things, and we are limited to the amount of IQ that we've been blessed with. So,
Yes.
So thank you, Michelle.
Right.
What do you feel like has been one of the most, life-changing books that you've read that you frequently give out to people?
Well, I like the book The Secret. Have you ever heard of that book?
I have, yes.
That book really changed my view about potential and how you can create your own future and you can create the reality that you want. And that book, somebody introduced that book and that movie to me during one of my last PR agency jobs that I hated. And I read that book about living as though you have it already, living your life as though what you want has already come to you. Mm. And so I decided that I was going to work every day in this Michigan Avenue PR firm with the attitude that I already have a new job. I don't know where that new job is. I don't know who's going to hire me, but I am going to my office and clearing out my desk. I literally had minimal amount of stuff on my desk that any time now I was going to be offered another job. I was going to find my dream job. I literally did clear out my desk so that nobody would really notice that I was getting ready to leave, but I acted as though every day I was going to my new job. And I started off my day with optimism and excitement about what my new job was going to be. Probably a month or two into adopting this attitude every morning, I got laid off. And a few days later, I got 2 calls from owners of 2 firms who were looking for a freelance PR person to assign 20 hours of work a week to. So I got 2 freelance gigs providing me with full-time work out of my home and doing what I love to do, but not hassling with all of the agency world. It was exactly what I wanted. And I believe the secret, because of my attitude change, I got what I was wishing for.
Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it seems like, that also is a person who's brimming with hope and optimism,
Right.
Which versus the individual who is stuck in a rut and just feeling like they're like, every day I got to do this again. Just so burned out on the position. So I could see how, that is attractive to the world. I mean, the world wants to employ people that are, as you're talking about, that are passion filled, that are hope filled, that have vision and purpose for the work that they're doing. So thank you for sharing. Michelle, how can people get a hold of you and the work that you're doing?
They could find me at michelledamico.com, MichelleDamico.com, or email me at michelle@michelledamico.com, or go to find me on LinkedIn. I have a business page on Facebook, and I am at Michelle Damico on Twitter.
Great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really enjoyed a lot of the stories that you shared today, Michelle, and really look forward to the way that it's going to bless our audience as well. So thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast, Chris. It's really exciting to see someone like you rolling out a podcast and putting your own personal stamp on it. And it's very inspiring. So thanks for having me as a guest.
Most definitely. Take care, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Chris here. Hope you enjoyed the episode where we discussed all things going bald. Just joking. The Leading Virtuously podcast. If you enjoyed the episode and the podcast, will you please subscribe on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify? Or you could also share it with a friend. That would be tubular. I hope you have an awesome day.